Welcome friends to my channel Trading Sensation. Yes friends, many viewers are requesting me to make videos on the basics of stock market. So I thought to make a video just based on layman's term, and I'll be explaining about what stock market is all about. Stock market is an aggregation of buyers and sellers. Now suppose you trade in different platforms. It can be Zerodha, it can be ICICI Securities, it can be Upstocks, it can be HDFC Securities, it can be Edelweiss, etc. Now you just log into your trading account and you start trading, correct? Now suppose you are placing a bid. Bid means you are placing an order to buy. Now you don't know who the seller is, because you are trading through exchange. That means it's a standardized platform where the buyer don't know the seller and the seller don't know who is the buyer. But on the other hand, you know who is the buyer and seller if you go to a local shop, or if you go to the local market. So in the same way, this is also, the stock market is also an aggregation of buyers and sellers of not vegetables, my friend, but shares, or you can say equities, or you can say just stocks. So you got the answer that what is stock market? It is just an aggregation of buyers and sellers of different kinds of stocks, which are also known as equities, or shares which are listed in the exchanges, that is Bombay Stock Exchange or National Stock Exchange. Now coming to the next question, that is also a very you can say overrated question. Question is how to study market. Yes, how to study market. So by the term market, I mean here stock market, not vegetable or fish market. So how to study stock market? So suppose I don't know what is your background. You can be a college fresher, you a businessman, you can be a person who is doing job, you can be a housewife, you can be self-employed, anything or any class. It doesn't matter which background you are from. You don't require an MBA degree, you don't require a CFA degree, you don't require an FRM degree to study the market or to trade in the market. So let me just tell you in just simple terms, there are two schools of thought. There are two branches, you can say. Let me just open paint. The two schools of thought are: number one, fundamental analysis. Number two is technical analysis. Clear? So what is fundamental and what is technical? So always remember that if you want to study stock market, if you want to study the equity market, if you want to study any segment, you can say, be it currency, be it equity, be it bond, be it future and options, be it commodities, any segment that you like to trade or you prefer, it is based on two schools of thought. Yes friends, it is just based on two schools of thought. One is fundamental analysis and the second one is technical analysis. So what is fundamental analysis all about? So I am just going to give you a synopsis, a brush up. I am not delving deeper into this particular video. I'll explain if you want. Please put your questions in the comment section, and accordingly I'll prepare the videos in future. So fundamental analysis is all about studying the financial statements. Let me just show you a website. So this is a website known as Screener. If you just go to Google and type Screener, Screener, Screener.in, and you type any company, say the favorite company of the retailers are Reliance Industries. Now say for example, if you just want to study Reliance, you just type Reliance and you see all the details of Reliance Industries here. You see the market cap, then you see stock PE, ROCE, current price, book value, ROE, high low, price, as of date, then you have the dividend yield, then you have the face value. So if you just scroll down below, on the right side also you will get information on the company. I mean, say for example, what Reliance is all about. Is it a tire company? Is it a sugar company? Is it a telecom company? Is it from metals? What does Reliance do? You can get a one-line definition on the right side. So Reliance Industries is engaged in activities spanning across hydrocarbon exploration and production, petroleum refining and marketing, petrochemicals, retail, digital services and financial services. So this is just an overview of what Reliance Industries is all about the company. Now if you just scroll down further, you will find this is the price chart. Here you can see it is the price chart, and below that it is the volume, and if you just change it to price to earning, you will see this is the price to earning graph. And then you have the performance of maximum, and you can change it to 5 year, 3 year, 1 year, whatever. Now if you just scroll down further, you will find the pros and cons as per the screener. So it is showing that no pros found, and under cons it is showing company has a low return on equity of 11.5% for last 3 years, and dividend payout has been low at 10.02 percent of profits over last 3 years. Now if you just scroll down further, this is the peer comparison of Reliance Industries, that means BPCL, IOCL, HPCL, MRPL and CPCL. Here you have the current market price, P, market cap, dividend yield. So all these parameters are given. Now let us scroll down further. This is the quarterly result of sales, expenses, operating profit, then you have other income, interest, depreciation, tax, the quarterly report, so quarter on quarter. So then you have September, then you have December, so every quarter it is showing. Now if you just click on this, you have the standalone. So previously it was consolidated. So what is consolidated all about? Suppose you have a company and you have some other group companies also, that means subsidiaries. So when you are combining all the companies together and providing the financial statements, it is known as consolidated statement. And when you are just looking at the any particular company, then it resembles the standalone result. Clear? So now let us just scroll down further. This is the profit and loss statement. Here you have this year on year basis, March 2009, then 10, 11, and this is the you can say the consolidated one. So sales, expenses, operating profit margin percent, then you have other income, interest, depreciation, net profit. And if you just click on this view standalone, you have all the details also as per the standalone numbers. Now then you have the compounded sales growth of 10 years, 5 years, then you have compounded profit growth for the same periodicity, then you have stock price CAGR, then you have return on equity. And then if you scroll down further, it is the balance sheet. So balance sheet of Reliance Industries, March 2009, then 10, 11, as you go on the right side, it is all year on year basis. Now this is the balance sheet numbers. I am not going into these numbers individually, I am just showing you an overview. Then you have the cash flows. This is the cash flow from operating activity, then investing activity, then you have the financing activity. And then you have some ratios like ROC, debtor days, inventory turnover. Then you have the shareholding pattern, which is also very important. That means the promoters, how much the promoters hold in that particular company. So as of September 2020, promoters hold 50.49%. Then you have the FIIs who hold 25.23. Then you have the DIIs, that means the domestic institutional investors, and FII means foreign institutional investors. It is 13.15 for DIIs. Then you have the government holding in that particular company, it is 0.2%. Then you have the public, which is 10.93%. And this is all the documents which have been published by the company. So all these are all recent announcements. Then you have the annual report of different years. Then you have the credit ratings. So this is a very holistic study, I would say, my friend. You need to study all year on year basis. So suppose if you're studying the present year, then you need to go back and study at least 3 to 5 years to get an overview of the company. So you need to study the financial statements like I have shown, the balance sheet, the income statement, the cash flow statement, and then you also need to download all these annual reports from here. You can also download it from the company website or from from Bombay Stock Exchange website. So you need to study the annual reports, you need to delve deeper into the management discussion analysis part, that is the MDA part, and after that you need to do the financial modeling, and you need to study and you need to conclude that what is the intrinsic value of that particular company, whether it is undervalued or overvalued. If it is undervalued, then you will invest for a time frame of say at least for 6 months to 1 year, 3 year, 5 year horizon. And if it is overvalued, then I don't know, that's on your perception whether you are going to invest or not. So this is very holistic study which requires lot of efforts and lot of time as well. So now coming to the second school of thought that I was showing you here, that is the technical analysis. So this technical analysis is all about this chart study. Clear? So what is this chart all about? Friends, you have done maths, you have done stats in schools, in high schools, correct? So there you have two axes, that is y-axis and the x-axis. So here in the x-axis you have the timeline, you can say that means the time frame. I'll explain those things later. And on the y-axis you have the price. Clear? So this is of Nifty. Say for example, let me just show you for Reliance only, because I was just explaining you on Reliance in screener.in. So friend, I have opened tradingview.com. Go to Google and type tradingview.com and it will take you directly to this particular website. You just need to do a sign up thing with your mail ID and automatically you will get this interface. It is completely free of cost. So friend, I also use this particular website a lot and many other things, but let me just focus on this TradingView right now. Here you see on the right side you have the price. Clear? And here you see the timeline. Now just on the top, it is not, I guess it is not showing in the screen. If you just see beside the price, there are different kind of charts. Here you see bar chart. Let me just show you. This is the bar chart. Here you see candles. This is the candlestick. Here you see the hollow candles, Fibonacci, line, area, baseline, Renko, line break, Kagi, point and figure, range. So my friend, do you know that which charts are the most used chart? Yes. The answer is bar chart, candles and line chart. Yes friends, out of all these charts here you see in this list, only 3 charts are used the most, that is bar, candles and line chart. So if you ask me among these 3 which chart is mostly used, it is candlestick. Clear? So the chart that I have opened is the most used chart by all the analysts, by all the retail traders, by all the institutional players as well. So why candlestick chart? Why not line chart? Why not other charts? Because it is user friendly, first point, and the second point is it is visually much more appealing. Clear? Compared to other charts, let me just show you the line chart. Here you see only line. This is not that visually appealing. It looks like a ECG, electrocardiogram graph, correct? Now if you just change it to bar chart also, you can easily identify that this is also not that visually appealing or user friendly. But on the other hand, if you just click on these candlesticks, here you see this is visually much more appealing and much more user friendly. Now on this chart, here you see different forms of candles. One is long, one is small, one is short, one is little tall. Why? And the second question is, there are 2 kinds of color. One is green and the other one is red. Let me just open Paint here. I'll explain these things in detail here so that you understand better. Let me just draw 2 candles randomly. So I'm drawing one red candle and one green candle. I've started with the green one at first. Let me just draw the full candle portion so that nothing is left out, and then I'll draw the red one. I'm drawing the red one here. So let me just make the black colored portion here. Yes, friend, you can see that I have drawn two candles. One is green and the other one is red. Now, if I ask you that, can you tell me what is the difference and what is the similarity between these two candles? That means, let me just take the pencil. Between these two candles, if I ask you what is the similarity and dissimilarity, will you be able to tell me? If not, please follow on. I'll just write up the different names of these candles. Let me just so I just wanted to do everything live instead of putting it in a PPT, because PPTs are very boring and people don't follow it minutely, and it is not that interesting as well. So that's the main reason I wanted to do it live in front of you, so that you understand all the points. And moreover, if you don't understand also, there is a comment section. You can ask me always and I'll obviously revert you back. Now friend, let me just explain you that both these candles, now I guess you can tell me the similarity and dissimilarity of these two candles. Let me just write the similarity and dissimilarity on the right side. So let us focus on the similarities at first. So number one is both these candles have their high and low at the same point. That means high towards the top and low towards the bottom in this green candle, and in this red candle also you have the high at the top and low at the bottom. So high and low, so I'm just writing H and low, L. So I'm writing H for high and L for low. So both high and low of these two candles are located at the same position. So high and low of these two candles are located at the same position. That means high at the top and low at the bottom. Now let me write the differences. So what should be the differences? So the differences, number one is, you should see that the open in green is at the bottom and close is on the higher side, and in red open is on the higher side and close is towards the lower side. So in green candle, open is on the lower side and close is on the higher side. So in green candles you see open on the lower side and close on the higher side, and just the vice versa for red. I'm not writing for red, just explaining you once again. So in green, open is here, this is the opening point, clear, and close is here, this is the closing point, and this is the highest point, this is the highest point, clear, and this is the lowest point, this particular point is the lowest point. So this is the high, this is the close, this is the open, and this is the low. So this is high for red and this is the open for red, and this is the close for red, and this is the low for red, this particular point, clear. So both these candles have high and low at the same position, just a difference in open and close. I hope it has gone inside your head properly. Now just let me make a new file of this so that I'm not saving it. So here I want to explain the candlestick part. Say for example, if you stand, you have different body parts. At the top is your head, then you have neck, then you have shoulder, then you have your chest, then you have your bottom portion, correct? So in the same way, a candle also has its name. Let me just write a normal candle. Let me just put it with red one randomly. I'm not taking green, just taking red. So let me just complete the drawing of the candles at first. Let me just put this with black color. Yes. Now let me just write down the name again. So this is close, this is open, this is high, this is low. Now you need to see minutely here. This colored portion, this colored rectangular portion of this candle, say for example we light candles in our house, correct? So that candle has a white body and a small black colored portion at the top. I'll come to that point later. So that white portion here in this candlestick is known as real body. Let me just write down the name. It is called the real body of the candlestick. So this colored rectangular portion is called the real body of the candlestick. Clear? Now coming to the other portions of this candle, this is the total range. That means suppose if high, let me just write the data points randomly as well. Say for example high is 110, say open at say 100, say closed at say 95, and say low is 90. So high is 110, open is 100, close is 95, and low is 90. So if you want to see the total range, let me just write down the name. So total range is high minus low, that means 110 minus 90, it turns to 20. So total range is equal to 20. And what is the real body of the candlestick? It is 100 minus 95, that means 5 points is the real body of this candlestick. Now I'll just name another thing here. As we use candles in our house, there is a small black colored portion at the top, but in candlesticks we have black colored portion on either side. Most of the times it can be short, it can be long, sometimes it can be missing also. I'll explain those things later, but for the timing let us just know the name of this thing. So this is called wick. When this wick is on the higher side, that means I'm writing here, so this wick is equal to, or you can say the wick is known as upper wick or head or upper shadow. So this can be termed as either wick or shadow. If this is on the higher side, it is known as upper wick or head or upper shadow. It's the opposite on the lower side. So this one will be known as, let me just write down the names for your better understanding. Lower wick, then you can term it as lower shadow, or you can say as legs. So as we have head on our body, I mean head is always at the top, in the same way you can term this one as upper wick or upper shadow or head, and this one you can term it as lower wick or lower shadow or leg. I hope you have understood the different portion or the different part of candlesticks and why red, why green, their similarity and dissimilarity. Now remember one thing, on some chart you will find that the candlesticks are of different color, so don't get worried. Sometimes red is resembled as black, sorry, BLACK, and green is drawn as white. Clear? So sometimes red is equal to black and green is equal to white. Let me just show you on the chart. So here you can see this green colored candles. This can also be termed as white candles. On some forms of charts you will find this green colored as white, and in some charts you will find as green only. So this one is a red. In the same way you may find it as black in some chart, and in some chart you will find it is in red color. So don't get worried about it. Now this is all about the color of the candles and the different data points of the candles. Now let me just write another open another new file. So here always remember few points, that is any candlestick always has 4 data points. So any candlestick always has 4 data points. What are they? Number 1 is open, number 2 is high, number 3 is low, number 4 is close. So any candlestick always has 4 data points. Number 1 open, number 2 high, number 3 low, number 4 is close. Hence you will always find that the candlestick data points are represented as OHLC. So O represent open, H represent high, L represent low, and close represent the closing point. So I'll explain later what is open, what is high, what is low, what is close of any candle. Let me just take one candle for example. Say for example, here you see different shapes of candles are there. One is long, one is short, one is medium sized, but both, it has only 2 colors. One is red and the other one is green. Now let me just take any candle randomly. Say for example, if I take a doji, let me just draw a doji at first. So I'm using only the black colored line, or you can say black color from this particular portion. Now let me just write down the data points at first. I hope it is adding some value to you. I hope you will understand all the basics about candlesticks. So you know that black is equal to red, correct? So here open is equal to close, or you can say it is approximately is equal to close, or approximately is equal to close. Now let me just write the data points here, the values. Say for example, high is 110, low is 90. Now if open, say for example, open is equal to 98, then the close should also be either 98 or close to 98. Say 97.5 or 97, something like that, etc. Clear? Sometimes it is almost open is equal to close, and sometimes it is very near to the closing point. That means it can be 97.5, very near to the opening point. That means it can be 97.5 or 97 or 98.5. So hence it is termed as open is equal to close, or approximately is equal to close. Now let me just draw it and explain it to you. Say for example, I am using this data point here, this pencil. Now using another color to draw the data points, just look at it minutely. So I have circled 4 points. Now let me just write this data point. Open is equal to, I have written 98. Now this is the low is equal to 90. Then you have the high is equal to 110. Then this is the close is equal to, you have either say 98, or it can be 98.5, or it can be say for example 97, or it can be 97.5. that means very close to the opening point. Clear? Now this is the, let me just write down the timing also, the market timing. So the market opened at 9:15 a.m. in the morning here, say around this 11:30, say around 11:30 a.m. it made the low of 90, and say for example around 2 p.m. it made 110 the high, and this is the closing point, that means 3:30 p.m. Now you just see for example, I mean if you just draw it here a straight line, you will find that this open and closing point, that means this opening point and this closing point is almost at the same level. So open is 98 and close is around 98 or 98.5 or 97 or 97.5. so accordingly this candle has formed. So at 9:15 a.m. the market opened, and it opened at 98 here. Clear? And then due to a lot of selling pressure, or you can say the bears dominated the bulls or the sellers dominated the buyers, hence the price reduced and came on the downside, and it dragged here to 90. At this level the buyers came in and they started to buy a lot of create a lot of demand in that particular counter or that particular stock. So from this 90 the stock started to go up. It went up and came down here a little bit, and again went up and made a high around 2 p.m. and made a high of 110 here. So around 110 the sellers all came in and they became very active, and they started to get in and create a lot of pressure, selling pressure. So the buyers now are getting dominated by the sellers. So from 2 p.m. again the price started to come down, and around 3:30 p.m. it closed around 98 or this 98.5, or you can say 97 or 97.5. so it's almost this equals to the opening point. So this particular movement on any chart will represent a doji. So here I have drawn what this is doji. So let me just write down the name of this candle. So this is doji. So what does this doji represent? This doji represent what? See, let me just tell you one thing. As you, me and every other persons on this planet or in our society, they have their own story. You have your own story, I have my own story, your friend has his own story, your parents have their own story. So every candles on this chart, let me just show you the chart again. Every candles, this candle, this candle, this candle, this candle, this candle, this candle. So all these candles are like different persons in our society. So these candles individually have their own story. In the same way, I have tried to explain you the story of doji. So this is a candlestick which has its name as doji, and here I have written down the data points, open, high, low, close, and their values as well, and how the candlestick gets formed on the chart. That I have explained you through the chart movement. So this is the story, my friend. A doji, let me just write down the story in few lines. Doji represents tug of war. Tug of war between whom? Between bulls and bears. Clear? A doji represents tug of war between bulls and bears, tug of war between buyers and sellers, tug of war between the demand and supply zone. Now always remember, a doji occurs at the end of a trend, that is it always occurs either after an uptrend or at the end of a downtrend. Always it should be at the end of any trend. It can be uptrend or downtrend. Another thing you should remember, after its occurrence, the trend reverses. I'll explain those things on the chart in my future videos, but for the time being, let me just explain you how a candlestick forms and what is its importance. So always remember, for a doji, it is always important that you should know what the story is telling about. It represents that there is a tug of war between the bulls and bears. There is confusion in the market, and both the bulls and the bears are confused that which side should the price go. And always remember, one more point is, a doji always occurs before any certain event. Say for example, for any stock A, suppose stock A is going to publish or announce its report. It can be quarterly or annual, after 2 to 3 days or 4 days maybe. Okay, now you will see that before the announcement of its results, 2 to 3 days, it will continuously make all these kinds of confusing candles, which is known as doji. Why? Because the bulls don't know whether the numbers will be good or bad. The bears don't know whether the numbers will be bad or not. So both of them are confused. Both of them are waiting for the results to get announced. Hence, when both of the participants are confused, this type of candles form in the market, which is known as doji. And the story is, it looks like this. See, always remember that any candlestick is nothing other than visual representation of emotions. Try to get the pulse of that particular candlestick. As we see a person, if we go to a doctor, he checks our lungs, he checks our heartbeat through the stethoscope, correct? Just to get an overview of the health overview. Now in the same way, just to get an overview of the candlestick, you should know the pulse of that candlestick. How you will know the pulse? You should know the story, because open, high, low, close is known to everyone, but no one tries to understand this story that I have drawn here. So you should understand this story. Once you understand this story, then it will be easier for you that where doji happens, when it happens, and what happens after its occurrence. Clear? So if I want to draw a conclusion from today's video, I would like to say that fundamental is all about studying the company statements and drawing the conclusion that whether it is undervalued and overvalued, and accordingly going for the investment for any number of term, I mean in any number of time frame. It can be 6 months to 5 years, 6 years also. And on the other hand, the second school of thought that I explained as of now is all about technical analysis, where you study the chart patterns based on historical performance. So based on the historical patterns that any stock, any index, any chart has formed, you are going to predict that what is going to happen. So I'll make a series of videos in future just based on this chart study. But if you like technical, please go with the chart study. If you like fundamental, you can go with the fundamental study. It's not that if you don't know the other school of thought, you won't be successful, because there are a lot of market participants who just rely only on fundamental. There are a lot of participants who just rely only on technical, and there are also participants who knows both the things. So it is always better if you know both the things, but obviously if you know any one of these two things, it is suffice for you to be successful. But you should know it from in and out. So please do track my future videos, because I will be making a series of videos on this candlesticks, on this chart study. So thanks for watching my videos. Goodbye.